Welcome students. Today we are going to study a topic of the plant physiology, and that is known as the respiration. Very first you must know about that what is respiration. You can see that respiration is catabolic process. Why? Because here the glucose is broken down, okay, or any other respiratory substrate is broken down, and that's why it is called as what? Catabolic process. It is also called as exothermic process because energy is released out, and that's why it is called as an exothermic process. And it is also an oxidative process, means the breakdown of the respiratory substrate occur in the presence of the oxygen, and that's why it is an oxidative process. So it is a catabolic process, exothermic process, and oxidative process. Okay, now as you know very well that respiration comprises of two types. One is known as the aerobic respiration and another is known as anaerobic respiration. Aerobic means presence of oxygen and anaerobic means absence of oxygen. But you must know that whether it is a aerobic respiration or anaerobic respiration, there is a common step. There is a common step for aerobic as well as anaerobic respiration, and that is known as the glycolysis cycle. Glycolysis cycle is independent of the O2, and that's why it is a common step for the aerobic as well as the anaerobic respiration. And here the glucose is broken down into what? The pyruvic acid. Now glucose is a 6-carbon compound. It is broken down into a 3-carbon compound. Now the future of the pyruvic acid depends on that whether O2 will be available or O2 will not be available. Now if the pyruvic acid gets the oxygen, it will undergo aerobic respiration. It will enter into the Krebs cycle, okay, means it will form acetyl coenzyme A. Acetyl coenzyme A will enter into Krebs cycle, and the ultimate products of the Krebs cycle will be carbon dioxide, water, and energy will be liberated out. But what will happen if the pyruvic acid will not get O2? So if the pyruvic acid does not get O2, it will undergo anaerobic respiration, in which incomplete oxidation will occur, and what will happen? C2H5OH, that is ethanol, right, or carbon dioxide, and energy will be released out. Not only this, sometimes that is lactic acid is also formed, right? So either lactic acid is formed or ethyl alcohol will be formed, carbon dioxide is released out, and energy is liberated. Okay, so the future of the pyruvic acid depends on that whether it gets oxygen or not. If it gets oxygen, it will enter into the Krebs cycle. If it doesn't get oxygen, it will undergo anaerobic respiration and will form ethanol or lactic acid. Okay, in this video we will be first of all talking about the cycle known as the glycolysis cycle. Okay, in the glycolysis cycle the respiratory substrate is the glucose, and this is the cycle where the glucose will be broken down into pyruvic acid. Remember that one molecule of the glucose by the glycolysis cycle is converted into the 2 molecules of the pyruvic acid. Now glucose is a 6-carbon compound, while the pyruvic acid which is formed is a 3-carbon compound. Now this glycolysis cycle is also called as EMP pathway. EMP means what? There were 3 scientists who have given this pathway, Embedin, Meherov, and Parnas, and that's why it is also called as the EMP pathway. Now glycolysis cycle is independent of the O2. It does not depend on O2, and hence we can say that it is a common cycle which occur in both aerobic as well as anaerobic respiration. Now because there is no use of O2 here, you can see there is no evolution or there is no liberation of the CO2. Now the question arises that where do this glycolysis cycle occur? So the glycolysis cycle occur in the cytoplasm, and the entire process of the glycolysis is completed in 10 biochemical steps. So just now when we'll be talking about the glycolysis cycle, we'll be dealing with the 10 steps. Okay, now the very important thing is that all the steps of the glycolysis cycle are enzymatic except one, means out of the 10 steps, 9 steps will be enzymatic, and only there is one step, right, which is non-enzymatic. Now the thing to be noted here is that all the reactions of the glycolysis, all the reactions, that is total there are 10 reactions, so all the reactions are reversible except the 3, that is the step number 1st, the step number 3rd, and the step number 10th first, third and 10th steps are what? They are not reversible, otherwise all the steps are reversible. And you must also know about the ATP account in the glycolysis cycle. Net gain of the ATP, net gain of the ATP is 2 ATP and the total gain of ATP is 8 ATP. Just now when we will be studying in detail about the glycolysis cycle, you will be able to know that how net gain of ATP is 2 ATP and how the total gain of ATP is 8 ATP, right? So we are going to now study about the details of the glycolysis cycle. Now glycolysis cycle is a 10-step cycle, right? We will be dealing with this glycolysis cycle, and you must know because many times questions are asked in examination about the glycolysis cycle. Now see here, glucose, which is a 6-carbon compound, right? It will be broken down first of all into glucose 6-phosphate. In the very first step of the glycolysis cycle, it will be converted into what? Glucose 6-phosphate. Now the question arises that how this glucose is converted into glucose 6-phosphate. So what happens? Here there is an enzyme used known as hexokinase. In the presence of the hexokinase enzyme, what will happen? One molecule of ATP will be used. ATP will be converted into ADP in the presence of the magnesium ions. In the presence of the magnesium ions, so what will happen? From ATP, one phosphate is removed, ATP is converted into ADP. The phosphate which will be come out will go and attach at the 6th carbon atom of the glucose. So the glucose will be converted into what? The glucose 6-phosphate, right? Here we have taken one molecule, so one molecule of glucose 6-phosphate will be formed, and in this step you can see that one ATP is utilized, one ATP utilized. Okay, now in the second step, see here, first step is not reversible, but second step is reversible step. Second step is reversible. We'll be using a enzyme known as phosphoglucoisomerase. We'll be using an enzyme phosphoglucoisomerase, and what will happen? Isomerization will happen, and glucose 6-phosphate will be soon converted into fructose 6-phosphate. Fructose 6-phosphate. Now fructose 6-phosphate is an isomeric form of glucose 6-phosphate. Okay, so one molecule of fructose 6-phosphate is formed. This is a 6-carbon compound. This was also a 6-carbon compound. Now third step is again reversible. Third step is again reversible, and this is non-reversible. Third step is non-reversible. See here, first step is what? First step is non-reversible. Second step is reversible. Third step is again what? Non-reversible. And in this we will be using an enzyme known as phosphofructokinase. In the presence of the phosphofructokinase, what will happen? One molecule of ATP will be used up. ATP will be converted into ADP, and this process will happen in the presence of the magnesium ion. So you can see that one ATP utilized here, one ATP utilized here, right? And the phosphate which has came out from the breakdown of the ATP will go and attach at the first carbon atom of the fructose 6-phosphate. So fructose 6-phosphate will be converted into fructose 1,6-diphosphate. Okay, so fructose 1,6-diphosphate is again a 6-carbon compound, and one molecule of fructose 1,6-diphosphate will be formed. Now in the next step, this fructose 6-diphosphate will be broken down by a process called as cleavage, and cleavage always occur in the presence of aldolase enzyme. In the presence of what? Aldolase enzyme. Now what will happen? Two products will be formed, and each product will be of 3 carbon. See here, the first product formed is 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde. 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde, right? It is a 3-carbon compound. It's a 3-carbon compound. So one molecule of 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde is formed, and another molecule of dihydroxyacetone phosphate is formed. One molecule of dihydroxyacetone phosphate and one molecule of 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde is formed. Now it is also a 3 carbon compound and one molecule of it is formed. Now what will happen? This dihydroxyacetone phosphate will actually be converted into, it will undergo isomerization, and one molecule of dihydroxyacetone phosphate will be converted into 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde. So here now we will be treating two molecules of 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde. Why? Because this has been changed into this one in the presence of the enzyme known as phosphotriose isomerase. This reaction happens in the presence of, that is, phosphotriose isomerase. Okay, now what happens? Now we will be treating two molecules of 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde. Now in the next step you can see that next step is non-enzymatic step. This is the only step in the entire glycolysis cycle which is non-enzymatic. Which is what? Non-enzymatic step. Here only two molecules of H3PO4 will be used. Here two molecules of H3PO4 will be used, and the phosphate, the two inorganic phosphates which come out from the phosphoric acid go and attach at the first carbon atom of the 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde. So the 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde soon converts into 1,3-diphosphoglyceraldehyde. Okay, so what is formed? 1,3-diphosphoglyceraldehyde. So two molecules of 1,3-diphosphoglyceraldehydes are formed, and it is also a 3 carbon compound. Now what happens? In the next step you can see that the process of dehydrogenation will occur. The process of dehydrogenation will occur in the presence of triose phosphate. In the presence of triose phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme. In the presence of triose phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme, what will happen? Dehydrogenation will occur, right? And dehydrogenation will occur. So what will be formed? Dehydrogenation will occur. So the hydrogen will be removed from 1,3-diphosphoglyceraldehyde. These hydrogens will be taken up by two molecules of NAD, and two molecules of NAD will be converted into two molecules of NADH2. Will be forming what? Two molecules of NADH2, and like this 1,3-diphosphoglyceraldehyde will be converted into 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid. 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid. Okay, so this is another compound form. Now it is also 3 carbon compound and two molecules of it are formed. Now what will happen in the next step? In the next step you can see that there will be an enzyme used up, and that is known as phosphoglyceric transphosphorylase. An enzyme will be used up, and that is known as phosphoglyceric transphosphorylase. And here what will happen? The phosphate which is present at the first position of 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid will be taken up by the two molecules of ADP. Means this phosphate which is present at the first position will be removed. It will be taken up by what? ATP. So here you can see that two ATP formed, two molecules of ATPs are what? Formed here. Okay, and due to the removal of the phosphate group from the first position, 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid will be changed into 3-phosphoglyceric acid. 3-phosphoglyceric acid. Okay, now what is formed? 3-phosphoglyceric acid. It is a 3 carbon compound, and how many molecules are formed? 2 molecules are formed. Now what will happen? This 3-phosphoglyceric acid undergo isomerization in the presence of phosphoglyceromutase enzyme. In the presence of phosphoglyceromutase enzyme, right, what will happen? That the 3-phosphoglyceric acid will be converted into an isomeric form, and that is known as 2-phosphoglyceric acid. 2-phosphoglyceric acid. So two molecules of 2-phosphoglycic acid are formed, and 2-phosphoglycic acid is also a 3-carbon compound. Now I am not having the space here, that's why I am writing the next 2 steps here. Okay, now 2-phosphoglycic acid. Now 2-phosphoglycic acid will be soon converted into 2-phosphoglycic acid will be soon converted into 2-phosphoenol. It will be converted into 2-phosphoenol pyruvic acid. They will be converted into 2-phosphoenol pyruvic acid. How it is possible? Because here what will happen, that water molecule will be removed off. Water molecule will be removed off, and an enzyme will be used, and that enzyme is known as what? Enolase. So what will happen? 2-phosphoglycic acid will be converted into 2-phosphoenol pyruvic acid in the presence of the enolase enzyme, and water will be removed. That is, it is also called as the dehydration process. And in the last step, which is again not a reversible reaction, you can see that an enzyme will be used up known as pyruvate kinase. In the next step, pyruvate kinase enzyme will be used up, and this phosphate which is present at the second position will be removed, and it is taken up by the 2 molecules of ADP. 2 molecules of ADP are converted into 2 molecules of what? ATP. You can see here that 2 ATP formed, and because the phosphate is removed from the 2-phosphoenol pyruvic acid, so 2-phosphoenol pyruvic acid is converted into what? Pyruvic acid. Will be converted into what? Pyruvic acid. Now pyruvic acid is a 3-carbon compound, and how much molecules are formed? 2 molecules are formed. So we can say that 1 molecule of glucose is converted into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid, and glucose is a 6-carbon compound is converted into a 3-carbon compound known as pyruvic acid. One thing to be remembered here is that here you can see that glucose 6-phosphate is also called as Robinson's ester. At least 2 times question is asked in exams that out of the following which is Robinson's ester. So glucose 6-phosphate is called as what? Robinson's esters. And the fructose 6-phosphate is also called as Newburgh ester. It is also called as Newburgh ester. Okay, so you can see here in this process that glucose is broken down into pyruvic acid, right? Glucose is first converted into glucose 6-phosphate. Glucose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 6-phosphate. Fructose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 1,6-diphosphate. Fructose 1,6-diphosphate is converted into 2 compounds, 3 carbon each, 3-phosphoglyceride and dihydroxyacetone phosphate. Now the 1 molecule of dihydroxyacetone phosphate is converted into 3-phosphoglyceride. So we will be treating now 2 molecules of 3-phosphoglyceride. 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde, right, is changed into 1,3-diphosphoglyceraldehyde. 1,3-diphosphoglyceraldehyde is converted into 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid. During this process, 2 molecules of NADPH2 are formed, and in the next step 1,3-diphosphoglycic acid is converted into 3-phosphoglycic acid. In this step 2 molecules of ATPs are formed. Okay, in the next step isomerization occur, and 3-phosphoglycic acid is converted into another isomeric form known as the 2-phosphoglycic acid. 2-phosphoglycic acid undergoes dehydration in the presence of the enolase enzyme to form what? 2-phosphoenol pyruvic acid. 2-phosphoenol pyruvic acid. From the 2-phosphoenol pyruvic acid, the phosphate present at the second position will be removed. It will be taken up by ADP. ADP will be converted into what? ATP. And in the presence of the pyruvate kinase enzyme, 2-phosphoenol pyruvic acid will be converted into what? Pyruvic acid. So here you can see that 1 molecule of ATP is utilized here. Here in the third step, 1 molecule of ATP is utilized here. 2 molecules of ATPs are formed, and 2 molecules of ATP are formed here. So in this reaction you can see that how many ATPs are formed here. How many ATPs are formed? 4. And how many are utilized? That is 2. So just now in this video I have said that the net gain of the ATP in glycolysis cycle is how much ATP? 2 ATPs. Why? Because 4 are formed. Okay, 4 are formed and 2 are utilized. So 4 minus 2, 2 ATPs. And also these 2 molecules of NADH2, 2 molecules of NADH2, 2 molecules of NADH2 in oxidative phosphorylation. In oxidative phosphorylation, in the presence of the oxygen, can form how many ATPs? 6 ATPs. Why? Because we must know that 1 NADH2 equal to 3 ATP. So 2 molecules of NADH2 equal to how many ATPs? 6 ATPs. Okay, but the condition is that this 6 ATPs from NADH2 are not formed in the glycolysis cycle. When these NADH2 will enter in oxidative phosphorylation, means the electron transport chain, these 2 molecules of NADH2 will form how many ATP? 6 ATP, because we must know that 1 NADH2 equal to how many ATPs? That is known as the 3 ATP. So 2 NADH2 equal to 6 ATP. Now 6 ATP from NADH2 and 4 ATP from here. So 6 and 4 how much? 10, and 2 are utilized. So 10 minus 2 how much it comes? 8 ATP. So if it is asked that how much is the total gain of the ATP, total gain of the ATP by glycolysis cycle, it is 8 ATP. But if it is asked that what is the net gain of the ATP by the glycolysis cycle, then you will say that it is not 8 ATP, it is 2 ATP. Okay, and one thing to be noticed here is that the step number 1, the step number 1 is this one. This is step number 1, this is step number 2, this is step number 3, this is step number 4, this is 5, this one is 6, this is 7, this is 8th step, this is 9th step, and this is what? 10th step. Okay, so glycolysis cycle is completed in how many steps? You can see here that it is completed in 10 steps. Okay, it is completed in 10 steps, and the entire process of the glycolysis cycle, this entire process of the glycolysis cycle occur in the cytoplasm, and 1 molecule of glucose is converted into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. Okay, so dear students, this was all about the glycolysis cycle. Keep watching my videos. In the next videos you will be able to see few more cycles of respiration, that is Krebs cycle, electron transport, etc. Keep watching. Thank you.